Welcome back to Horror Rewind, the podcast where we dive deep into the movies that shaped the horror genre. Today, we're taking a closer look at the Paranormal Activity franchise, starting with the prequel, Paranormal Activity 3, set in 1988. Did you know that this film changed the landscape of horror forever?
Absolutely, Alex. The Paranormal Activity films introduced a whole new way of storytelling in horror. They created a sense of realism that audiences hadn't experienced before. But what really set the stage was how they intertwined the backstory of Katie and Christy, right from the very beginning with the third film.
Exactly. Paranormal Activity 3 not only served as a prequel, but also deepened the mythology surrounding the characters. So what can you tell us about what happened to Katie in the first film?
Well, in the first film, we see Katie being haunted by a malevolent entity that seems to have a personal connection to her. It's terrifying how the film builds tension with minimal special effects, relying instead on the psychological horror of what's left unseen.
And speaking of unseen terror, the ending of the first film leaves us with such a chilling moment. Katie, after being possessed, kills her boyfriend, Micah. It's a shocking twist that leaves viewers questioning everything they just witnessed.
Right, that ending not only shocked audiences, but also set up the stakes for the sequels. In the second film, we find out what happens to Katie's sister, Christy, and her family. It's brutal when Katie comes back and kills Christy and her husband, Daniel. The franchise just escalates from there.
What most people don't realize is how the possession worsened for Katie over the films. It's like a tragic spiral. By the time we reach Paranormal Activity 2, we can see that it's not just a haunting, it's a full-blown possession. What do you think was the turning point for her?
I think it's when she starts to lose her grip on reality. The entity becomes more aggressive, and it feeds off her fear and turmoil. It's a haunting reflection on how trauma can consume someone. Plus, the way the films use the found footage style adds to that sense of immersion.
Exactly. And then we have Paranormal Activity 3, which dives into the origins of the haunting. The film cleverly uses the concept of childhood innocence being corrupted. It's fascinating to see young Katie and Christy as they inadvertently invite the entity into their lives. What are your thoughts on the use of child characters in horror?
Child characters in horror can be effective because they symbolize vulnerability. In Paranormal Activity 3, the girls are curious and unaware of the dangers around them. This makes the horror feel more personal and relatable. It's heart-wrenching to watch them get caught up in such a dark fate.
And that brings us to the character of Toby. The entity is given a name, which is unusual for a horror movie. It almost humanizes the threat, making it more terrifying. It's not just a faceless evil, there's a personality behind it. How does that change the audience's perception?
It definitely adds layers to the horror. By naming it, the franchise encourages viewers to personalize their fear. It becomes less about the supernatural and more about the relationship between the characters and this entity. That's a brilliant narrative choice.
Speaking of brilliant choices, the marketing for the Paranormal Activity films was groundbreaking too. They were promoted as real footage, which created a buzz. How do you think that influenced the reception of the films?
It created an incredible sense of realism, Alex. Audiences were left questioning whether what they were seeing was true. This blurring of lines between reality and fiction is a huge part of why the franchise remains so impactful. It's like the ultimate horror experience.
And that's just the beginning. As the franchise continued, each film built on the last, creating a complex web of horror that fans still dissect today. It's remarkable how it keeps the audience engaged over so many installments. What do you think keeps drawing people back?
I believe it's the anticipation of what's next. Each film reveals more about the haunting, the family dynamics, and the entity itself. Plus, the fear of the unknown is a powerful motivator. That dread lingers long after the credits roll, and it's something horror fans crave.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the iconic scenes that have become staples in horror. The simplicity of a door slowly moving, or a shadow in the corner. Those moments are haunting. It's not just about the jump scares. It's about building an atmosphere of dread.
Exactly. The franchise has mastered the art of subtlety. It's fascinating how it leverages everyday settings to create horror. You could be sitting in your living room, and suddenly the mundane feels terrifying. That's powerful filmmaking.
So, what do you think the future holds for the Paranormal Activity franchise? Can it continue to innovate and scare audiences?
I think it can, as long as they stick to what made the original films successful. Creativity, suspense, and a compelling narrative, they can keep it fresh. There's so much more to explore within the lore, but they'll need to tread carefully to maintain that authenticity.
That's a great point, Sarah. The potential is there, and fans are eager for more. But they must balance innovation with the classic elements that made us fall in love with the franchise in the first place. It's a fine line.
Absolutely. And what a journey it has been from the first film to now. The Paranormal Activity franchise has indeed left an indelible mark on horror cinema. It's a conversation that will continue as long as there are ghost stories to tell.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the Paranormal Activity franchise. We've explored its origins, impact, and what makes it so memorable. Thank you for joining us, Sarah.
Thank you, Alex. It was a pleasure discussing this iconic franchise with you. Remember, dear listeners, the horror doesn't end here.
That's right. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share your favorite Paranormal Activity moments with us on social media.
Until next time, keep the lights on and stay spooky.